What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariel if you didn't know. So today's video is going to be all about adhesive, eyelash extensions adhesive. It's going to be a full video talking about exactly what adhesive is, what you need to know about it, and what it does basically. First thing though, I do want to talk about in my last video that I posted a couple days ago, I did mention a giveaway and I noticed a good amount of people entered, and thank you so much for those who entered. And I want to just talk about it really quick. So I am going to pick a winner in my next video, so I will do that shortly, so you still have time to enter. Go to the previous video and then look through the description and you'll see all the rules to enter, and then you just have to comment done when you have done all of them on that video. So if you do that, please go ahead, if you haven't done that, sorry, please go ahead and do that to be entered for our Flourish giveaway. I didn't mention what I was going to give away, but I am going to give away, I did say lash trays, but I'm going to give away 3 lash trays. I'm going to give away a lash tray of our mixed length M curl, and then I'm going to give away a 0.05 cc and a 0.05 dd. These are all mixed trays, and the M curls are 0.05 as well. And yeah, that's what you're gonna get. So don't forget to enter in my last video. Go do it now before it's too late. Okay, so let's get on with this video. Okay, so first things first, I do want to talk about adhesive. We have our own adhesive at Flourish. It is a 2 to 3 second drying time adhesive. It is best in 40 to 60% humidity range, and it's great. It's our infinite bond. It's fantastic. If you guys want to look into that more, go ahead and find the link in my description. It's there. You can go on our website and find all the info about that. But I do want to talk to you guys about adhesive in general. So I need to slow down because I talk fast, and I feel like this is one of the videos where I could potentially talk really fast. Okay, so eyelash extensions are bonded to your natural lash by an adhesive. It is not a glue technically, it's an adhesive. So that being said, it is not the same as lash glue. I know some people actually bond their lashes with lash glue when they don't know. Like as strip lash glue, that's definitely not the way to go. This is totally different. It's totally different formula, totally different characteristics. Everything about it is completely different. Okay, so lash glue, so adhesive. Adhesive is super important to your entire lashing concoction. It is the base, it is what holds your lashes together. It is meant to last a lot longer than cosmetic glue, so therefore it is a lot different, a lot stronger, and it has a lot more ingredients in it, and it's not actually meant for skin. So that being said, it is only supposed to be used by a professional. You are not supposed to go out there and buy a lash adhesive and do it to yourself or do it to anyone without the proper training. It is very important that you know how to use lash adhesive, because you can totally harm your client, and you don't want that. There's a lot that comes with that, and why would you ever want to do it to somebody? So let's talk about the things that you need to know. Lash adhesive is actually a lash glue, if you will, that doesn't actually dry the way regular strip lash glue dries. Strip lash glue dries over time as it's applied. You let it dry, and it dries maybe in like 30 seconds or so, less than a minute. But lash adhesive dries over time. It sticks a lot longer, and it is actually something that doesn't dry, sorry, it cures. It cures to your natural lash based on the humidity, and it draws moisture from the air to cure that formula, cure that bond. So lash adhesive is actually meant to bond to the natural lash for as long as possible, meaning that it's not supposed to pop off. It's actually supposed to stay onto that extension, or stay onto the natural lash until that natural lash grows out of its cycle and pops off itself. So when the lashes come off, a lot of people get scared because they see their natural lash on there as well, and they're like, oh my god. But actually that's the better scenario. Of course, if there's like 3 natural lashes on there, that's not good. But if one extension's popping off with 1 natural lash on it, that's actually what you want. You don't want them to pop off prematurely. You definitely want it to grow out of the cycle with the extension attached to the natural lash. Something to look into is when you look at the type of glue you're trying to buy, the type of adhesive you're trying to purchase, it's that the stronger the bond, the longer the bond. So if you're looking for something that's going to last like 8 weeks or whatever the case is, the longer that time period is, you better believe that the ingredients there, they're a lot stronger and generally have more fumes and can be more harmful, and actually you need to be a lot more careful with that. So anything like sensitive glue, anything like for sensitive eyes, you're almost guaranteed to have a glue that has a shorter period of time, like a shorter period of bonding time, because the ingredients in that are a lot less strong because they're meant to make sure that the eyes don't get irritated, they don't have a lot of fumes associated with them, and generally speaking they will probably have a shorter period of bonding time because they don't have that like extreme chemical that will keep that bond strong. Not to say that sensitive glue is gonna let your lashes fall off in 2 weeks. That's not always the case. The Flourish, actually the Flourish Infinite Bond is not marketed as a sensitive glue, but it does have sensitive glue qualities to it, where I have never had a client say that they were irritated or watered or anything like that, which is what we strive for with our glue. But the fumes are extremely low, and therefore it actually doesn't irritate people, and it works really well for sensitive clients, but it doesn't compromise the retention time, which is great. So you can definitely find adhesives out there that don't compromise the retention time, but like I said, we don't market our glue as sensitive, so we don't associate that like less bonding time, because it's not like that. It's not a specifically sensitive adhesive, if that makes sense. Okay, so as I mentioned before, adhesive doesn't dry, it cures. Adhesives or glues that dry refer to air drying the actual formula or the product, but adhesive actually forms its maximum bonding time by drawing moisture from the air, so therefore it cures the actual adhesive so that it locks in the natural lash and the extension. So as soon as you actually apply that lash onto the natural lash, it starts to draw in the moisture and starts to create that bond immediately. It's just a longer process of curing rather than drying, because the dry time for a strip lash glue is a lot shorter, but obviously that's cosmetic use and it actually will just come off very easily. So that's kind of the difference, and why you have to use it at a professional level, because it's something that you're not supposed to touch on the skin, it's not supposed to get in the eye, and your eyes are supposed to be closed, and there's definitely a proper way they're supposed to use it. So the thing about lash adhesive is, generally speaking, it is super high in fumes most of the time. You can get adhesives that have lower fumes, but you have to take in the ingredient list and kind of go by that. So you have to know your adhesives a little bit, and it takes a little time to kind of do some research and learn a little bit about it. For example, something I didn't know was formaldehyde is actually a terrible ingredient. Didn't know that, didn't know it was in the adhesive. I struggled for a few years using adhesive that had formaldehyde in it, not even knowing, because we weren't taught that. But formaldehyde is what causes that major fume, and actually it's what you get those, I mean, I don't know if other people get this, but I used to get those like allergy symptoms where my eyes would water, my nose would run. I would come back from doing the client and be really like sinusy, but it's because the fumes from the adhesive were super strong, and they would kind of do that to my sinuses, but that wasn't supposed to happen. I used to think that it was because I was bending down for so long, like everything was just coming down, but it was actually the adhesive being so strong in fumes and formaldehyde that it was triggering all these things in my sinuses and all that kind of stuff, which is not supposed to happen. Our adhesive Infinite Bond, I needed this to be, but it is completely formaldehyde and latex free, so that actually never happens with our adhesive. So I mentioned before humidity. Humidity is a huge factor when working with adhesive. You have to make sure that you're reading your label, you're reading what your bottle is saying, because you always want to go by the manufacturer's instructions. You don't want to kind of take it into your own hands, because whatever formula they created, they know the best temperature it should be at and where it should be stored. So you do want to make sure that you are keeping a close-knit eye on your humidity in your lash room, because you want to make sure that it's within the range of your adhesive, because like I said, that the adhesive dries, or sorry, the adhesive cures, and the temperature in your lash room has a lot to do with that. And what could happen is if your temperature is if your humidity is too high or too low, it won't react well, it won't react properly to the adhesive, and it'll pop off. So you have to make sure, like, so for instance, our adhesive is between a 40 and 60% humidity range, so I always make sure my lash room is within that range. What happens is if it's out of that range, you have to do something to bring it back. So whether that means getting a humidifier or getting a dehumidifier, you have to do something that keeps the room humidity consistent. So that being said, like, let's say the humidity in your room is too low, you would want to get a humidifier, because that will add humidity into your room. And then if it's too high, you want to get a dehumidifier, because that will take out the that would lower the humidity in your room. So then drying time. So lash glues have totally different drying times in each bottle. So same thing, you want to go by manufacturer's instructions. So you can have lash glues that bond within a 2 to 3 second time, or a 5 to 6 second, or even like a 6 to 7, or even more or less. Some of them are like a second. It just depends, and this is super important because you have to know what your dry time is for your adhesive, so that way you can match your skill and match your hand to that. Because if you have like a 2 to 3 second drying time adhesive and you're actually at the speed of like a 5 to 6, by the time you go to pop that lash onto the natural lash, it's gonna be too long of a time between the time you dipped the adhesive into, dip the lash into the adhesive and the time you're actually applying the lash. So then therefore it's gonna pop off prematurely and it's not going to grab onto the natural lash properly at all. So you have to make sure your dry time works with your hand, and by doing like the only way you can do that is like trial and error. And like for me, I had to go through a few different lash glues to understand that. I didn't even know. I had no idea that that was a thing, but I had to go through a few different lash glues to understand, like, okay, I personally work between like a 2 to 3 second dry time, and it's not too fast, not too slow. It allows me to work in like my technique as well, because I don't actually isolate and then dip. I dip then isolate. So I had to make sure that I was using an adhesive that would allow me time to do that and then isolate, so I could pop the lash on properly without it popping off. Okay, so something super important about lash adhesive is that it does not mix with any type of cotton. What happens is it burns the cotton. I'm sure some of you have seen those videos where the smoke comes up, and that's because the ingredients, like I said, are very strong in the adhesive and they don't mix well with cotton. So you never want to use anything cotton on your client's eyes when you're using the adhesive. So for instance, like you don't want to use a cotton swab and like rub their eyes beforehand, because then if there's like any lint or fibers in there and you apply the lash with the adhesive on it, you can burn their eyelid based on having like that little one piece of lint or whatever in between their lashes. And then you never want to use anything like a Q-tip or anything like that, because it will burn the lash basically, and they can burn their skin, and then that's irritation, and obviously we don't want that. Definitely avoid all cotton at all costs. Okay, and then something else that's super important is contacts. So the reason you don't use you don't let your clients wear contact lenses while you're lashing them, and this is so bad because I've seen so many videos of clients or people, lash artists, lashing themselves, and they're like, oh no, it's okay, just wear contacts and you'll be good because you won't feel the burn. But the problem with that is because like I said, the fumes in lash adhesive are so strong. What happens is the fumes that it gives off actually shrink the material of the contact lens, which can cause major damage to that client's eye. It may not happen immediately, and it's actually so slow that you don't actually see it right away. You can't even see it. You can't see it, you can't feel it, but it does happen, and that actually ruins their eyes, and it can actually cause major damage to their eyes. So you never ever want your clients to wear contacts while you're doing their extensions, especially if you have clients coming back and they're wearing contacts. Each time you do their lashes, that causes a little bit of damage to their eyes. So you definitely want to let your clients know, like, do not wear contacts, and if you are, you have to take them off before you actually start applying the lashes, because the fumes can it's not worth it. So don't do it. Okay, so that's basically all I have on adhesive right now. I hope this was helpful. I never really talk much about stuff like this, but I do want to help anyone out there that's like struggling, because I would have totally benefited from a video like this when I was learning. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you guys learned something, and yeah, like I said, don't forget to enter my giveaway in my last video, and that is it for now. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with something new next time. Bye.